All right. Welcome to the review of question 5 on the AAMC Preview Practice Test. And let's just jump right into it. Right. And, if you haven't done the question before watching this video, please do the question and use this as a way to reflect on your own thought processes and how you can improve in the future. And I'm going to kind of assume y'all already know how we're going to handle answering these questions and the framework we're going to use. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please refer to video 1 in this playlist. So let's jump right into scenario 5. Okay. While viewing a classmate's social media profile, you notice that your classmate has made negative comments about treating a recent patient. Your classmate describes the patient and the patient's condition in detail, which violates patient privacy regulations. Okay. Yeah, and I think for this question, very important to realize that, these patient privacy regulations, there's quite serious ethical norms and laws surrounding this, and it's a very serious concern that needs to be addressed that our patient, described their patient and their condition in detail and kind of crossed this line and violated their privacy. So I think in comparison to other questions, the main idea, the main problem we're facing here is pretty straightforward, that our classmate violated a very serious privacy regulations rule. Okay, so let's jump into 5.1 and see the responses to this. All right, explain to your classmate the importance of patient privacy and ask them to remove the comments. Okay, so let's start with, where we started in the past, where, we do this 2-step elimination process, right? And for the first step, we use these questions. Let's focus on the second question for now, as I think it's a bit more relevant. Are you taking steps to resolve the main problem? Well, what's the main problem here? That our classmate violated a rule. So are we taking steps to address this? And yeah, we are, we are not only explaining to our classmate the importance of the privacy, but hopefully we're trying to convince them to remove the comment in order to maintain and ensure whatever privacy is still able to be maintained by the patient can be, and trying to fix the issue. So because we're addressing it, and finding a solution for it to some extent, I'm going to move this into a 3 or 4 initially, okay, because we're doing a good job addressing the main problem here. All right, so how do we differentiate between a 3 and a 4? So let's look at, these are the questions we've kind of assembled in our toolkit for differentiating between an effective and very effective answer. So let's look to see if any of these are relevant and can provide us with guidance on how to differentiate between these two problems. So, you can pause the video, read over these, and there are some very good things we're doing here. We are being compassionate towards our classmate, and we are taking actionable steps. But the most important thing I want you to focus on is this question right here: how proactive is our response in helping prevent similar problems from occurring in the future? And there's a reason why we have such strong laws and norms in healthcare around privacy. It's because of the severity of violating someone else's privacy in this manner. And because, privacy rules are very serious, and the importance of them should not be understated. And, we have a really serious responsibility as, a medical student, any person in healthcare to maintain this privacy. This violation kind of cuts above our pay grade in this question, and solving it and effectively addressing it to make sure it doesn't happen again in the future by other students, by the same student who did it in this scenario. The only way to kind of do that is by reporting it. And unless we can ensure, the similar level of responsibility is placed on the person who violated, our classmate, and pretty much there's not a better way to remedy the situation than reporting it, and simply explaining to our classmate about the importance of it and asking them to remove the comments. It doesn't cut to that level of ensuring that future patients' privacies are respected, and even this patient's privacy, which was violated, is remedied in some way. So this is going to be an effective response, right? All right, now let's jump into 5.2. All right. Report your classmates' behavior as a privacy violation. Okay, so, just because what we've done in the past and what we kind of discussed in 5.1, we can very clearly, almost immediately triage this into a very effective. We won't do that very often, but just because we kind of went through that explanation in the previous question, we know that a violation of this severity requires some reporting to be done in order to kind of remedy the situation. Okay. Let's go to 5.3. Read through your classmates' previous comments and see how often they comment about patients. Okay. So, yeah. So let's start with the same place we started, and how we usually start. Are you taking steps to resolve the main problem? Are we taking steps to resolve the main problem? We're not, right? We're not talking to the our classmate. We're not trying to ensure that the comments are removed or the responsibility is kind of placed on the classmate for these actions. So we're not doing any of that. So I'm going to immediately kind of triage this into a 1 or a 2. All right. So how do we differentiate between 1 or 2? All right. To what extent are you recognizing there's an issue, offering a solution, or relinquishing your responsibilities? Are there any overt consequences to our response? Are we disengaging from the problem? Are we precluding further discussion? Are we being rude or disrespectful? Remember, these are only, we'll add more questions as we go through this exam, but from these questions, we're not disengaging from the problem, right? And I guess one assumption that I wish the AAMC was a bit more straightforward with when writing this question, but we're seeing how often they comment about their patients. It might give us some more information on the level of violation that our classmate has incurred and done during their but by looking through their social media history. So we're not disengaging. There's not really any overt consequences, right, to this immediate action of seeing how often they comment. We aren't really offering a solution, but we are recognizing there's an issue, and we're not really relinquishing our responsibilities. So, for that reason, and, remember, one of the big things that differentiates a 1 or a 2 is the probability that will cause additional problems or make the situation worse, right? That's one significant differentiator, and probably the biggest differentiating question we have between a 1 and a 2, because this is provided by the AAMC on page 3 of their practice exam. So for that reason, because this doesn't have very, explicit negative consequences, and because we're not disengaging from the problem, I'm gonna move this into an ineffective answer. All right. All right, 5.4. Let other students know your classmates should not be trusted with private information. All right, let's go back, let's go back. Are you taking steps to resolve the main problem? Are we taking steps to resolve the main problem? Does this action take steps towards resolving the problem that our classmate has made serious, it's broken a serious rule and violated serious privacy regulations? Clearly, we're not taking steps to remedy the situation, right? We're not taking steps to remedy the situation. All right, so we're down to a 1 or a 2. And once again, let's go back, pause the video if you want to go over these, but clearly from this response, one thing that, we said is the probability that there will be negative consequences is a major factor. And for this situation, yeah, reporting and spreading gossip to your other classmates, and doing it behind the back of our classmate, that not only is it not addressing the problem, but it's probably only going to serve to isolate our classmate and make their situation even worse. and kind of shame them in this way. So, it's really a response that's not solving anything and very clearly gonna cause more consequences. And we're not doing anything to kind of further our knowledge of the situation. And really, this is just a very ineffective response. That's only going to cause harm and not do any good. So it's going to be a very ineffective solution. All right. 5.5. All right. Suggest your classmate remove the comments as soon as possible. Okay, let's start back. Are we addressing the main problem? And we are, right? We're addressing the main problem. We're trying to remedy the situation by making sure our classmate removes the comments, which is the source of the privacy regulations. Okay, so we are addressing the main problem. This is going to be a 3 or a 4. Once again, though, remember, the severity of this problem is to such a high degree that this is not going to cut it in terms of improving the situation, right? What really needs to happen is that we need to make sure this classmate doesn't do this again in the future, and also that no one does this again in the future. And one of the best ways to do that is to report it. And it's not that, we have to report it to get a very effective response, but just based on what we've seen previously and what we can assume that the AAMC wants us to embody from this question, it's that the severity of this is very serious, and this classmate needs to take responsibility, and the responsibility needs to be placed on them in a way that's proportionate to their violation. So once again, this is not going to be very effective. This is only going to be effective, although it might help the situation, it's not going to improve it. It's not going to allow our classmate to take ownership of the mistake that they made. So for that reason, this is going to be an effective response. And that ends our question number 5. This was a weird question, although it was a serious and very straightforward problem we were faced with. It was still a bit tough, and the importance of realizing the need to report. I thought on first glance, it's a good lesson to kind of realize and take forward. So if you didn't get all the questions right for this scenario, definitely don't feel bad. For any question, if you didn't get any questions right, please do not feel bad. We made this entire playlist and this entire review so you can learn and try to, do the best you can on the actual preview test. And I really hope that you do. Please like and comment and subscribe. Please share with your friends, and I will see you for scenario 6.